Hey, welcome back. Euthanasia is there in this public debate since 1980s, and recently it got prominence as Spain became the fourth country to legalize euthanasia, following the Netherlands, Luxembourg, and Belgium. In this video, we are going to understand multiple facts about euthanasia, but we will only be interested in the arguments and counter-arguments being rational. And this debate is all about if euthanasia is good or bad. And discussion on euthanasia can be very much emotionally charged. However, our best interest would be to being rationally argumentative for the both of the sides to understand if euthanasia is good or bad. Let's start with its etymology. This word originates from a couple of Greek words, eu, which means good, and thanatos, which means death. To sum up, it means a good death. Here to understand, by performing euthanasia, does it offer a good death as its name claims? Let's find out. So talking about its definition, euthanasia refers to an act which is performed to end someone's life deliberately in order to relieve someone from their suffering, and that suffering mainly because of their incurable illness. Euthanasia is a complex process, involves many factors like local laws, the patient's physical and mental health, their personal views, and their wishes. All these factors play a key role to perform an euthanasia. So, are there different kinds of euthanasia? The answer is yes. So, the first classification is of an assisted suicide and euthanasia. Assisted suicide refers to a situation where a doctor consciously, knowingly helping the patient to end their life. Here, this act of ending the life by a drug or an injection is not performed directly by the doctor, but the doctor helps the patient in order to reach that situation. Whereas euthanasia is a process where doctor directly helps the patient in order to get rid of the pain. For example, by an injection or a drug. Now, euthanasia can be classified again into two parts. First one is an active euthanasia where the doctor performs actively, such as giving the medicine or the injection. And the second one is a passive euthanasia where the doctor pulls the plugs or limit the sustainability so that the patient's pain comes to an end. Another kind of classification of euthanasia is voluntary euthanasia and non-voluntary euthanasia. In voluntary euthanasia, the patient makes a will in his good shape of health and mind for future, so that in future, if the patient finds himself or herself in this kind of situation, it will be legalized and submitted to the doctor to carry out this euthanasia for that patient. This practice is also accepted in India in 2018. And the non-voluntary euthanasia is often performed by a trusted person. It can be a family member or friend of the patient. So in a situation when the patient is not in a position to take a decision, that assigned person will take the decision to perform euthanasia on behalf of the patient. And in this situation, in most of the times, passive euthanasia is also performed. So the next question is euthanasia illegal? It's an ongoing debate that encircles around morality and ethics, that whether or not we should perform euthanasia or should we legalize it. So let's have a look here, the countries that legalized or partially legalized the euthanasia. The physician-assisted suicide is legalized in Japan and Germany. Switzerland never legalized it. However, with a loophole in the law, it can be performed. And a few states in the United States have their own law where it legalized euthanasia and physician-assisted suicide. So what are the prominent controversies and dilemma around euthanasia? First one is about morality and of religion. Majority of the prominent religions consider that euthanasia is a way of murder and unacceptable under any kind of circumstances. It further argues that it is an act of weakness and human beings should get rid of their weaknesses. The second point is about the physician's judgment. The doctor is also a human being. We cannot consider the judgment of a human doctor as the ultimate, so that on the basis of that judgment that a patient is incurable, we cannot lead to end their life. Moreover, miracle also happens. The third point is about ethics, where the doctors took oath of saving patient's life at any circumstances. And here, the doctors are the ones who perform this euthanasia to these patients, which is exactly opposite to their oath. People argue that letting someone be free from their pain is also a kind of good gesture, and the doctor performs is eventually good for the patient and also for the family sometimes, because in order to avoid the expense and the mental trauma. Now, here are some facts. In 2013, the New England Journal of Medicine found that 65% of people in 74 countries are against to perform euthanasia. And interestingly, in another survey in United Kingdom also found that the doctors who are sometimes find themselves in this situation are not in a favorable opinion to perform euthanasia, but their reasons are mostly religious. Debate on euthanasia is never black and white, and it would never be, because there is never a threshold for human pain, agony. There is also philosophical viewpoints are involved here, where many people can have their own choices. Thus, arguments and counter-arguments would always remain to be in this debate. However, the point is, which is the way where euthanasia, as it promises a good death, is delivered in a better way than others, if it is needed at all. Thank you.